Adventure effects have fundamentally changed Pokémon Go. Some draw rare Pokémon spawns, some double the Pokémon encounter radius, and some even increase the Pokémon catch rate. But out of all 9 adventure effects currently in the game, which is the best? Well, today I'll be breaking down and ranking each adventure effect to answer that very question. So with that said, let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. So it's August of 2025 and there's currently 8 adventure effects available in Go. These include Dialga's Roar of Time, Palkia's Spatial Rend, Duskmane Necrozma's Sunsteel Strike, Dawnwing Necrozma's Moongeist Beam, Black Kyurem's Freeze Shock, White Kyurem's Ice Burn, Crown Zamazenta's Behemoth Bash, and Crown Zacian's Behemoth Blade. We also saw the release of our most recent Pokemon Go adventure effect during the GoFest Max finale, being Eternatus with Dynamax Cannon. So out of all 9 Pokemon Go adventure effects, which one is the best? Well, like I said, we'll be breaking down each adventure effect and ranking them based on their abilities. So starting off our list at number 9, we have Duskmane Necrozma's Sunsteel Strike. This adventure effect creates a shiny aura around the player that attracts both daytime Pokemon and allows you to evolve Pokemon with daytime evolutions. The Pokemon you can attract with Sunsteel Strike include Pidgey, Alolan Exeggutor, Solrock, Cottonee, Helioptile, Tyrant, Yungoos, Flamantis, and Rockruff. And if you're lucky, you may even encounter a Rockruff that can evolve into Dusk form like in Rock as well. So why is this adventure effect at the bottom of our list? Well, while it does offer some cool spawns and the ability to evolve daytime Pokemon, that's really all it does. Nothing too crazy or impactful like the other adventure effects. Though with that said, it still has some unique implications if certain Pokemon featured on it have boosted shiny rates during events. Plus, this effect will spawn a Pokemon every minute when stationary, so you'll get more spawns than you would if you were using an incense or a coin box. For our 8th rated adventure effect, we have Dawnwing Necrozma's Moongeist Beam. Essentially, this move is the opposite of Sunsteel Strike, drawing nighttime spawns and allowing nighttime evolutions. The Pokemon you can get from Moongeist Beam include Alolan Rattata, Clefairy, Alolan Marowak, Gligar, Galarian Zigzagoon, Lunatone, Munna, Amora, and Rockruff. And also like Sunsteel Strike, you have a chance to encounter Rockruff that can evolve into a Dusk form like in Rock. Now there's 2 reasons why I put this adventure effect above Sunsteel Strike. Moongeist Beam includes more perma-boosted shiny Pokemon compared to its predecessor. Moongeist Beam has Alolan Marowak, Galarian Zigzagoon, and Rockruff, while Sunsteel Strike only has Alolan Exeggutor and Rockruff. But along with that, Moongeist Beam also unlocks one particularly rare Pokemon-specific evolution. In order to obtain an Ursaluna, you'll need to evolve an Ursaring at night when a full moon is present. And this is easier said than done, as this phenomenon only occurs once a month. So if you happen to miss the limited time window, you'll have to wait an entire month for the next one. However, with Moongeist Beam, you can simulate a full moon condition at any time of day, allowing you to get this rare evolution whenever you want. So in my opinion, that benefit alone makes this adventure effect much more useful than Sunsteel Strike, which is why it comes in at number 8 on our list. For our 7th best rated Pokemon Go adventure effect, we're giving that rank to Zacian's Behemoth Blade. This adventure effect cuts through the competition, providing the user with extra damage during raid and max battles, 10% more damage in raids and 5% more damage in max battles to be precise. Now don't get me wrong, this is a solid adventure effect, however there's limited viability for solo play. This will help make soloing some legendaries easier, but you'll still benefit from having 1 to 2 extra players in your lobby with you. And at that point, you're only taking it down slightly quicker than you normally would, so it's not really worth the stardust and candy from a raid standpoint. The same can also be said for max battles. The 1-star max battles can be soloed pretty easily, and the 3 stars can be soloed depending on the Pokemon types you use. And for G-Max and D-Max legendary battles, you'll need a decent amount of players in order to take these down, even with the proper typings, tanks, and attackers. So while having the extra 5% damage can help, I feel like it won't make much of a difference from what you'd already be doing with your group. Not to mention that I think Zamazenta's Behemoth Bash makes for a much better option compared to Behemoth Blade. But that's just my opinion. I don't think Behemoth Blade is bad by any means, just not as useful as some of the other adventure effects. Moving on to our 6th most useful adventure effect, we're placing Black Kyurem's Freeze Shock here. Like its name, this move will freeze any Pokemon in their tracks, making them easier to catch. But that's not all it does. This adventure effect also increases a Pokemon's catch rate, including those caught by an auto catcher, by 25%. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, despite its abilities, I think it pales in comparison to the catch boost that Ice Burn provides. Also, Freeze Shock just essentially adds a Nano Berry to every Pokemon. Not bad, but not the most useful for every Pokemon that you come across. Still, it's not a bad adventure effect by any means, especially if you don't have access to a White Kyurem with Ice Burn. I just prefer using Ice Burn between the two, which is why we place Free Shock here. Moving on to our next best rated adventure effect, we're giving Origin Dialga's Roar of Time the number 5 spot on our list. When used, this adventure effect allows the player to pause the duration timer of Lucky Eggs, Star Pieces, and Incense, including Daily Incense. Now let me just say that this effect was huge when it was first released during the Sinnoh Tour, as it gave those with limited access to premium items the ability to stretch their usefulness. For example, you could stretch one star piece across an entire community day if you really wanted to. But not only that, it was also huge for those hunting Galarian birds, as it gave them more than 15 minutes a day to do so. Some players even went on to do 24 hours of daily incense with the hopes of getting some good Pokemon like a shiny Galarian bird. These are just two of the many advantages to using this particular adventure effect. Now while this effect is extremely useful, it's also very resource expensive. Every 6 minutes of using this effect costs 5 Dialga Candy plus 5,000 Stardust. Doesn't sound like much now, however some of the other adventure effects cost the same amount and run for 10 minutes. The Stardust cost can add up pretty quickly if you're trying to match that time, so if you're going to use Roar Time, my advice is to run it when you have multiple premium items going, such as a Star Piece and a Lucky Egg. That way you're stopping both items at the same time and getting more value out of the Stardust spent. Honestly, if it wasn't for the high Stardust cost, Roar Time would be a contender for the top adventure effect, but with it being as Stardust costly as it is, I think 5th is a fair spot for it. So now we're reaching the halfway point of our Pokemon Go adventure effect rankings, and we're giving Eternatus's Dynamax Cannon the number 4 spot on our list. This adventure effect debuted during the Go Fest Max Finale event in August of 2025, and upon release, provided a huge boost for Pokemon used in Max battles. When used, this effect raises the level of all your Pokemon's Max moves by 1. That means a Pokemon without any leveled up moves will have a level 2 attack, level 1 shield, and level 1 spirit, and a Pokemon with moves max to 3 will all jump to level 4. That means even more damage, protection, and heals whenever moves are used. Now with the increased difficulty of G-Max raids, this would be an excellent effect to use when taking on those battles, honestly better than Zacian or Zamazenta's moves in my opinion. So why put it at number 4 if that's the case? Well, under normal circumstances it would be much higher, however the problem with Dynamax Cannon is it costs tons of candy to power up, way more than a normal Pokemon would. As such, you needed to do tons of max battles when this Pokemon was available to get this effect. Eternatus is also not readily available in game. You were limited to just one encounter from the Go Fest Max Finale Pass during that event, so if you happen to miss it, you'll need to wait until the next event that includes Eternatus to get this adventure effect. This brings us to the top 3 adventure effects available in Pokemon Go, and I'm giving the bronze medal of adventure effects to Zamazenta's Behemoth Bash. While running, this effect boosts your Pokemon's defense in raids and max battles, making your tanks even tankier. Like Zacian, this effect won't have the biggest impact on soloing raids, however when it comes to max battles, this move will be a game changer. Like I said, it makes your tanks even bulkier, letting them absorb more hits and stay in for battles longer. I feel like most of a max battle is using your tanks to charge your Dynamax meter, so by boosting your tank's defense, it's going to be able to stay in longer and charge the Dynamax meter even more. So that effect alone makes it all the more worthwhile and why it's at number 3. In second place for the best adventure effects, we have one of my new favorites, being White Kyurem's Ice Burn. This particular effect is great because like Black Kyurem, it has 2 effects. First, it quickly locks a Pokemon's catch circle to a great throw, then slowly shrinks to an excellent. This will boost your throw accuracy when catching Pokemon, which provides bigger XP payouts, as well as helping with quests such as making 5 greats in a row for Spinda. Now if that wasn't enough, it gets even better with its second effect. Like Free Shock, this move increases a Pokemon's catch rates including auto catchers, but this move increases it by 50%. This is huge, as I usually run my Pokeball Plus when I'm out playing, and I can't tell you how I'm constantly checking my journal and seeing myself lose 75 to 90% of the Pokemon that I interact with. But with this adventure effect, I've seen a decent shift in my journal with more Pokemon caught. Plus it also works on legendary Pokemon, so this can speed up the process of catching a bit, allowing me to quickly get back to wild spawns or make the next raid lobby in time. Honestly, this is an essential adventure effect if you're a hardcore player, and that's why Ice Burn earns a spot as the second most useful effect in the game. So at this point we're 8 adventure effects down, so by the process of elimination, you should know what's coming next. Our favorite and best adventure effect in the game in our opinion is Origin Palkia's Spatial Rend. This move literally rips open the bounds of space by doubling your Pokemon's encounter radius. And this effect alone is huge for a variety of reasons. If you're a player with minimal spawn points around you, this adventure effect will increase the encounter range and show more Pokemon that you can catch. But this effect can do more than just show more Pokemon on the map. It can also be used to help find rare Pokemon that are just outside your radius. For example, during the second day of the Sinnoh Tour, I essentially ran Spatial Rend for all 8 hours of the event. As such, I got a farther look at the spawns around us, which was extremely helpful for the group when looking for the Lake Trio. Because I could see farther ahead, I could call out these roaming legendaries and lead our group to them. Now let me ask you something. Has there ever been a time you've gone after a Pokemon in a Pokestop, and once you got there you couldn't find it because you couldn't get to a specific spot? Well, with Spatial Rend, those unfortunate experiences are now a thing of the past. So if you don't have one already, try to find someone with a Spatial Rend Palkia and trade with them as soon as possible, because this is by far the best adventure effect in all of Pokemon Go in our opinion. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think the best Pokemon Go adventure effect is, and would you rank these adventure effects in any other way? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. And if you enjoyed this ranking video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Pokemon tips, tricks, and rankings. So with that said, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.